Yeah. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. See this? This is my boomstick. Now I swear, the next one of you primates even touches me. Yeah! Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
Welcome to another episode of Go Ape Podcast. I'm Jon Randall. With me as always,
Brandon Geringer.
Hello, Brandon.
Hello, Jonathan.
How are you?
Good.
How was your week?
It was okay. How was yours?
Exhausting.
Oh, okay. Great.
That's it. We move on.
All right, tell us about your week, Jonathan. I know you've been wanting to tell everybody about your amazing, fun week that you've had.
Kind of an ass. Now
A
I
little
don't
bit.
want to tell it.
A little bit of an ass.
Now I don't want to tell it.
What have you been doing? Nothing, from what I could tell.
Yeah, nothing at all. Oh, wait. Remember that flood that we made fun of on the last show?
I do.
Apparently it did affect some people
in
the
Columbia.
lower part of the state.
Yeah.
Columbia, Charleston,
Columbia.
So my TV station that I work for partnered with Harvest Hope, which is a organization that donates goods and services to people who have suffered this tragedy. Is it a tragedy or is it natural disaster? What do you call it?
It's a disaster. It's
a
a natural
disaster.
disaster, not a tragedy. This is life.
People died.
But this is Mother Nature.
What qualifies as a tragedy?
This is when it's man-made.
Okay.
So was man-error.
So was Katrina a tragedy? Like the flooding of New Orleans? Because the levees broke. That was a man-made
Well, there's
error.
multiple tragedies that happen on there.
Okay. Well, anyways, so this disaster.
It is a disaster.
We invited people in the upstate to drop off donations at several locations.
Human beings.
Yes. I can say this. The upstate of South Carolina is a very, very giving community.
Oh, they are?
Because they wouldn't stop giving.
Oh, you wanted them to stop giving water? Is that what they were giving,
Well,
water?
they donated many goods, water being the heaviest of them. And this is not an exaggeration, because we did the math, we worked it out.
Okay.
I probably helped move, over a 2-day period, 60,000 pounds of water.
God, you must be ripped.
Yeah, my muscles are ripped in twain.
I bet.
I'm in horrible pain.
Well, I noticed that you did a lot of them in flip-flops. That was probably a mistake.
No. I didn't wear flip-flops either day.
I saw you the other day. You had flip-flops then.
No, that was yesterday. And I was promised that day that I did not have to do any manual labor. I basically just had to drive a truck yesterday. But Wednesday and Thursday, a lot of brutality on my muscles, because
Okay.
I'm not very in shape.
No.
I don't know if you know. I don't exercise.
You have a hidden strength.
So that was brutal, and it was painful, and yeah.
But that's good, though. A lot of people came out, they helped, and they sent water down south to Columbia and the low country part for those people that were affected by this flooding. Mm-hmm. We didn't get it as much up here, but they definitely got it in Columbia and in Charleston.
Yeah.
And at least you did something physical for a good.
Yeah, that's what everybody keeps telling me. Like, you did it for a good cause.
Mm-hmm. But you hate people, so that's counteractive.
Yeah, and charity's painful, Brandon. I'm going to go ahead and tell you.
Sharing's painful?
Charity is
Charity?
painful.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's a picture. Obviously, our viewers can't see it, but that's a picture of...
It's a lot of water.
And we did that about 7 or 8 times over, because that kept getting cleaned out. We would go to Harvest Hope, load the warehouse up. They loaded up 3 53-foot tractor trailers, ship stuff out. We fill up their warehouse again.
Well, good.
So the people in our community are very giving people.
Yep.
But stop. Just, it's enough.
For you.
Yeah, for me. Yeah,
for
to
you.
help.
You can keep doing it, but just don't involve Jonathan Randall.
Don't ask me to move water.
Jonathan Randall's his name.
Please don't ask me to move water.
Exactly.
So that was painful this week.
Hand me my water.
Good news.
Cigarette juice?
My Dolphins fired our head coach.
That is good news.
We fired our defensive
'Cause
coordinator.
How come? What happened?
They're not a very good team.
They went to London, jolly old.
They did go to London. I woke up at the very early a.m. of 9:30 in the morning to watch the game, and it was disappointing. Disappointing game.
And that was after staying up late doing Go Ape Podcast
Yeah.
2.0.
So yeah.
They did very poorly. Not only did they didn't lose by a huge amount, but they just
Not
played,
as much as the Buffalo game, but
no, that was incredible.
But it was still like it was just embarrassingly bad.
They just played very poorly.
Very poorly. So the next day, the coach got fired. They promoted our tight ends coach, who was a former NFL player for like 11 years,
Okay.
to be our new head coach.
Next fall guy.
And then on Thursday, I guess he fired the defensive coordinator, which needed to happen.
Good.
So that's good. And they promoted the linebackers coach to take his place. I don't know how well they're going to do. I don't think
Not
it's.
well.
I mean, honestly, it's not going to make that big of a difference.
No.
You know,
This season's shot.
it is, but you know, at least it's a change. At least it shows that the owner is committed, at least to the players,
That's true.
to perhaps trying to make some sort of change to make things better.
And every once in a while, if you're going to make a change, you need to look in the mirror and you need to ask that man to make a change.
It's not.
Okay. All right.
And also, there was a little bit of controversy with our quarterback this week.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Apparently, during a practice against the practice squad players,
Scrubs.
yeah, the scrubs,
You don't want those.
the scrubs were asked to take it easy so the quarterback could regain his confidence. And apparently, they got to some jab jawing out there on the field, and the practice squad guys decided that they were going to play full speed, full out, and they just were intercepting his passes left and right.
Well, good.
And apparently the comment from the quarterback to the practice squad guys, there was a alleged comment made where he said, "Enjoy your practice squad paycheck."
Wow.
And apparently there was some fighting that almost broke out. So he claims he never said that, but
I'll be honest with you. I don't think he'll be your quarterback in the next couple of years.
well, we spent $96 million on him. So
Nah, he'll be gone.
also
He won't perform to that level.
Also,
Excuse me, I'm a little thirsty.
Also, I mean, their slogan before the season started was "Stronger Together." Doesn't appear we are.
No.
Yeah, so my team's falling apart. So it's another year in my beard, but we knew that before the season even started.
That's true.
And yeah, there we are.
And my Jaguars, they should have won the game 3 times, and they have a terrible kicker.
What? So they fell because of the kicker.
Yes.
You guys got rid of the kicker.
No.
Oh,
Standing behind the kicker is what the coach said.
okay.
So, yeah, it was a very angry day for Jaguar. I mean, I've been a Jaguars fan all my life, and to see them start to have some momentum, and then this idiot can't kick a field goal, I mean, incredible. He was in a half stadium, like a half, dome type thing, and he can't kick a field goal. An absolute idiot is what he is.
Okay.
And so that's football news.
Okay.
Good news, football news is what we'll call that.
Right.
Any nerdom that you're aware of or have been paying attention to anything?
Nothing major.
All right.
I did see an article this week where they offered Rick Moranis a cameo in the new Ghostbusters film. He turned it down.
Of course he did. He's retired.
Well, yeah, and he retired, after his wife died. He said he had been contemplating a return to acting, but he said it didn't make sense to him to appear in a movie 30 years after it came out to play the same character just as a quick cameo. He was like, I don't think that is going to be my return to acting.
Plus, he's going to look around and not see the guys that he filmed with.
If you'll keep in mind, though, well, apparently Sigourney Weaver, Ernie Hudson, Dan Aykroyd, and Bill Murray are all
of course,
making
they're
cameos.
attaching themselves to it because this is the only thing they think they might be able to get involved
But keep in mind, Brandon, this is the second time Rick Moranis has turned down reprising Louis Tully. Remember they tried to get him for the Ghostbusters game?
That's right.
He said he didn't want to do it, and then the last minute he was like, I do want to do it. Remember? And they were like, no, it's already done.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Idiot.
And remember when you go by his desk in the game, it was like out to lunch. They had a sign on his computer, out to lunch.
Well.
For Ghostbusters fans, by the way, if you pick up the Ghostbusters video game for any of the last generation systems, it is the closest you will ever get to Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was a
good.
great game.
It was a good game. I enjoyed it.
Story of it's great. It's got all the original actors. Sans Rick Moranis.
Yep. No Vigo the Carpathian, but the painting is
His
in there.
painting's there.
And you're going to fall on the ground a lot in that game.
But it's a good game.
It is a good game. I enjoyed the story of it and them doing the voices.
But yeah, that's really the only thing I noticed really kind of this week. What about you?
Well, I guess they canceled the Inhumans movie. Marvel did.
Good.
I
want to see more cancellations of Marvel films.
They announced Ant-Man and the Wasp movie.
I saw that.
Now,
is it a second Ant-Man
Yes.
and the Wasp, or
Yes.
is it a movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp?
It's called Ant-Man and the Wasp.
So it's just a second Ant-Man film.
Yes.
Okay.
With her.
See, I thought it was two separate movies. I misunderstood it.
And I heard some people bitching about there's not a Black Widow movie. I'm like, well, here's a little clue for you. Black Widow doesn't have any fucking powers. She is shit. She doesn't do anything. There's plenty of people who can kick ass. And everybody's like, well, what about a Black Widow movie? She's not very exciting.
I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about Captain America. He just kicks ass.
Yeah, but he's got powers. I mean, he's got strength.
Super
He's
strength.
on the strength. Yeah, he's on the strength.
Okay.
And Wasp can fly around with her wings and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I'm like, she's boring. That's why I'm certain someone's throwing a script up that's like, she doesn't have any powers. Why is she even in the Avengers?
Yeah, well, I don't really care.
Yeah, who cares? Screw it. Other than that, we saw Star Wars Battlefront demos out, and it looks very good.
Yep.
You're going to pick that up, I take it?
Probably.
You're a Star Wars man.
I mean, I definitely want to play it. I definitely like how it looks. Once again, I hate that it's only online. I hate games that one day down the road I won't ever be able to pick up again later.
True.
You know, I hate that.
And EA is known for shutting those things off.
Yeah. I mean, just give me an offline mode to a game that I can always play later on if I want to. All the other Battlefronts had that. Yeah. You know, the first two had that.
Yeah. Sucky.
So, I mean, give me a mode where I can play it anytime I want to pop it in.
That's true.
I mean, it's why are you even releasing a game with a physical medium on a disc if eventually it's just going to be shut down anyway?
True. It's happened many times.
Yeah. Just let me just download it and be done with it.
Well, I'm looking forward to Fallout. It's going to be here in a month.
It's close.
Fallout 4.
You pre-ordered, right?
I did. I've got it pre-ordered, ready to rock.
Did you do a collector's edition? I'm sure they have one.
No.
Do they have one this time?
Probably, but no, I don't do those anymore. I only do collectors strategy guides, and people laugh at me about that, but I really like nice collector strategy guide, because when you're on the shitter making your dukes, it's a good read of the game, and it's got the whole game. I mean, a collector's edition might be something like a soundtrack or this or a box, but that doesn't really encompass the game. A collector's edition book, I mean, you might have interviews or art or something like that, some extra thing, and I don't have to really use it as a strategy guide, more of just kind of like a shelf collector's piece, the writing of it and stuff like that. So that's how I enjoy those. So I went ahead and pre-ordered that thing, because they've always made stellar strategy guides for that. Other than that, we're getting close to Halloween, and I'm always kind of anxious on Halloween. I'm afraid always of some sort of spook or specter, or ghost or goblin. I usually get kind of, around the time of Halloween, because it's a scary time, obviously. There's kids dressed up as monsters and SpongeBob and stuff like that.
What's the Devil's Day?
Yeah, it is the Devil's Day.
All Hallows Eve.
Yes, correct. And 666 and the Witch's Coven, they come out. And
yep, I'll be in church praying that night, the whole night.
Yep. Yep. And so I just always get kind of anxious about it, and I don't want to play with anything like evil spirits and stuff like that, even though I don't believe in them at all. But I just like to do that just to heighten the senses and get me in the zone of Halloween. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm afraid something's going to happen.
All right.
Because my wife kind of foo-foos it all, but I'm like, whoa, you need to show respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ever know some of this stuff can come true. But of course, it's come for me. Watch a lot of horror movies. You see, we do like in horror movies.
We do.
I'd actually say that I've probably seen more horror movies than I have science fiction movies, by a long shot.
Okay.
I mean, what do you think?
For you or for me?
For both of us.
I mean,
I've seen tons of horror movies.
I've seen a lot of both, for sure.
Well, I'm thinking.
I feel like tonight when we were looking through movies, trying to pick out what we were going to watch tonight.
Yeah, because this was a last minute thing.
Yeah, because I could not decide what I wanted to watch.
Very indecisive.
You were naming off a bunch of movies I had never seen.
Yeah.
So you definitely seen a lot more, I think, than me. Right. At least of modern movies.
Yeah.
Well,
it was when that time I was a security guard in the shack. I watched a lot of movies. And I like being alone in a little tiny shack in the dark, all by myself, like watching like the worst movie you could watch to be in that situation.
Right.
I like really ramping up the horror.
Right.
Like if there's a scene in a movie that I think is really scary, I want to watch it like 3 or 4 times in a row to feel that fear, Because it's I don't know, a lot of people don't like horror movies, and I think the movie we did tonight's not a true horror movie, obviously. But I think it's got some cool aspects.
It won a Saturn Award for Best Horror Film.
Well, I mean, it has some horror elements in it.
I guess.
But it's more comedy.
It's a comedy.
But I've always just enjoyed the fear, because the fear of a movie, the fear gives me, when it does, it makes me feel alive. It's a sense that you don't have all the time. So when it's there, it's unique, it's not normal, and it gets the blood pumping and the heart going, and you're like, whoa, that's got me scared. Like, that's different than a normal, because you know me, I got no fear. I mean, they got a whole t-shirt company devoted to me. No fear is what I got. So, anywho, is there anything else before we hit the movie, or what you got? You've got to have something else.
I fought a spider this week.
How'd you do?
He fought back.
Of course he did.
I'm not even kidding around.
You're very weak.
Yeah, I've got a little truce with a couple spiders around my house.
Yeah, you've made some packs.
As long as they're hanging out at the end of my porch, they can continue to live. One of them this week violated the pack.
He stepped out of bounds.
As I was coming up my stairs, every night I use my flashlight because I always watch that staircase. And when I'm coming home from work, because I get home late, I got the light shining, and I see a nice big web spun, and
trying to catch you.
The spider is out of bounds, as you said. So
it's overstep.
I grab my hoe. And,
okay.
Yep. And I knock down his web, knock him down on the ground on the front porch, and I start trying to smash him with the hoe.
What's up, punk?
The spider struck at the hoe like 2 or 3 times.
Did he disarm you at any point?
He started striking at the hoe. And I'm sitting there like smashing it against the concrete on my front porch.
I wish I could have seen this.
Trying to kill the spider. I finally got him. There was a loud crack and a pop as I busted his body because he was massive. Mm-hmm. And he had a huge smear mark on my front porch.
Of what? Smear of what?
I guess his innards.
Gutty works?
Yeah, as I busted him open.
How much experience did you get from him?
2,000 experience.
Whoa!
Yeah.
That's a huge... He must have been...
He was like 5 challenge points.
Wow.
Challenge
points. You and spiders.
So, yeah. So, I had that this week. I fought a spider.
But tell y'all people, I
won, but it was rough.
It was rough. You took some damage from it.
Took some sandy loss.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times I've seen Jonathan walk in the dark, and his arm is going up and down like he's trying to wave something in front of him, so he's trying to knock off webs so he doesn't run into webs.
Dude, that all started back at your mom's house.
Do a little teapot. He's a little teapot.
When you used to live at your parents years
yes,
ago,
yes.
And I always parked by that damn tree. Yeah. And that tree, they'd always shoot webs over to my car.
They're trying to get you, dude.
So
they know their enemy. They know their weakness. They can smell the weakness on you.
Yeah.
They think they're going to take you.
But my other boy is still chilling at the end of the porch. He's been there for over a month, almost a month and a half.
He's very wise.
Month and a half now, riding spider. He's cool. He's hanging out down at the end.
Yeah,
we got no problem.
He's cool.
But other dude,
he weighs about a half a pound.
Other guy encroached.
I will.
So he met his end.
Encroached.
He met his end.
Encroachment.
Yeah, exactly. It was a 5-yard penalty and murder.
All right.
So I had that going.
I think of anything else. Again, I'm going to the beach next week. So
no podcast.
No podcast next week, but we'll fire it back up for the 24th. And then we might do do a horror movie or something, don't know. But we'll have an episode on Halloween that we're going to do.
Yep. Spooky, scary.
Ooh, I like that. A werewolf bar mitzvah.
We're going to use a Ouija board on
I'm down for that.
The podcast.
I'd love
live.
To use it. I'm cool with that.
We'll do it at your house, though, not my house.
We'll do it live. We'll go live.
We'll do it at your house, not my house. Oh,
I want it at your house.
No. We're not doing it in my home. Mm-hmm. I'm not opening that gate.
Yeah.
So, you know what we need to do?
What's that?
Halloween night, we need to go ahead and tell our listeners now, we do the podcast live on Periscope. On Periscope.
We get Periscopes?
No. You use that program on Twitter, Periscope,
like
and we do the podcast live while people are watching us as
You'd have to get that all set up. That sounds like effort.
We can set it up, but you know what? It's going to take you, the listeners, giving us your reaction. Do you want us to do that?
There's 2 guys, dude.
Well, maybe Trey and Joe.
It's Trey and Joe Grimm.
Maybe it's
Trey Womack.
Trey and Joe.
He lives in Arkansas, not Louisiana, like you said. And Joe Grimm.
No, he lives in Louisiana.
No, he lives in Arkansas.
No, Trey lives in Louisiana.
Oh, he lives in Louisiana. You said Arkansas. What an idiot. And then you got Joe Grimm. Those are our 2 listeners.
Well, if the 2 of them vote, it's going to take...
Ooh, it could win a 50-50.
No. It's going to take... what's the word? Unanimous. Unanimous decision for them to... for us to enact Periscope and do the podcast live.
You'll have to figure that all out. You're our technical guy.
God, what if they say yes and then they stay home that Saturday? Home that Saturday night.
No one's going to stay home Saturday
just to see us do the podcast.
They've probably got heavy nights of boozing it and whatnot, what have you.
Okay,
so they got that going for us.
I'll do the podcast dressed as Mr. Spock.
That's terrible.
Costumes.
Oh my god,
we'd be in costumes.
How can you be
podcast.
Mr. Spock with that beard?
If we do it live, well, I'm evil Spock. Run amok. But yeah, that's it. We do the podcast in costumes on Periscope live that night.
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
I'm just saying.
You know me.
It could be a ratings getter.
A ratings getter. We'll get 2 ratings. We'll get Trey and Joe ratings is what we'll get.
Other people listen to us, dude. I don't know who they are, but they're out there listening.
Yep, they're out there somewhere. We still get Facebook likes and whatnot. Views, new views.
Sing it like Fievel. Somewhere out there.
Somewhere out there.
There you go.
These nights swing. I don't know the rest of the words. Dude. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time.
Of course you haven't.
Very long.
It's Don Bluth, though. That's good art.
It is good art. Army of Darkness.
That was our movie this week.
This is, in essence, Evil Dead Thrice.
Yep.
I mean, is it called Evil Dead Thrice? Or
I don't know that there was ever a version called Evil Dead 3 like in any other countries or releases. It was just Army of Darkness, but yes, it is a sequel to Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
And let's just go ahead and say that probably no one knows about this movie in the world. Only me and you.
Yeah, we're the only people that have ever heard of it.
Yeah, no one knows it. No one's going to know any references or anything that we're talking about.
Right. Now, they may know what Sam Raimi came off the critical film, critically acclaimed, Darkman.
Starring Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn. And after Darkman was made, he had a little pool, and he used it to tug on Dino De Laurentiis' pee-pee. Mm-hmm. And he got some financing to make Army of Darkness.
And that's the movie that we're going to be spotlighting today on Go Ape Podcast 2.0.
Yep, from 1992.
That was a year. That's in the past.
Yep. So that's the movie. It had a... What do you think the budget was of the film?
$12 million.
Close. 13.
I was very close.
13 million. How much money do you think the movie made box office?
4.
21 and a half.
Well, that's not too bad.
It's all right. Only 11 and a half of that was United States. As we read in the insert for my DVD that we watched.
Which we will be talking about at length, this DVD that he has. Which should be thrown
It said that the movie was only in the theater for a week and a half. Not quite enough for them to get into the land of profits.
I want Superman to throw that DVD into the sun.
Like the nukes from Superman 4.
So that hopefully he'll fight that guy with the claws and the voice.
Okay.
What was that guy's name?
Solar Man?
I don't know what he was.
I don't know. Nuclear Man. It was Nuclear Man.
Okay.
Because the whole movie was about nuclear weapons.
It
was terrible. Yeah.
Okay, so it came out in 1992.
Yep.
I originally had no clue about this movie whatsoever.
I never knew about it.
I had never seen any of the Evil Deads at this point.
I had not either.
And I want to say that I could have been maybe overseas at this time. So I missed when it was released. But obviously over the years as I've gotten older, many people have talked about their love for the film. And it's a cult classic, obviously. That's what we spotlight lots of times here on Go 8 Podcast, cult classic movies.
I would say probably around 1997 is when I finally saw all 3 of these films.
Okay. I've only seen...
I probably had not seen them until then.
I think have I seen the first one? I don't even know. I don't know.
I'm sure. The first one is a legit good horror movie.
Right.
Like, it is... I mean, it's very low budget, but it was a very good horror movie. The second one is basically a remake of the first, but then it throws in new elements which lead to this third film.
Right.
Even though they call it Evil Dead 2, there's a lot of things in it that don't make any sense if you watch the first movie.
Straight out of it.
It's basically a remake of the first movie with some new elements that lead into 3.
Right.
So.
And I used to hang out with a guy, and this was early in the time of DVDs and stuff, and he had a good bit of money, I believe, and he would just go out and buy DVDs.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah, he would just rent DVD. He wouldn't rent DVDs. He would just go and buy them.
Right.
And I remember he said that he bought this movie and he played it, and like within just like a couple minutes, he was like, "Okay, this is shit off." So he just didn't get it. He didn't get it, and it is a movie.
It's unlike its predecessors.
Yeah, and I think he had seen the predecessors.
Yeah,
and I think this is a movie where most people kind of get it. Some people might not still get it, but you have to kind of maybe like it if you get it. You know, you could possibly like it, maybe. You know?
I think for me, it helped that I think I saw this one first.
Right, me too.
Before I ever saw the other 2. So it was kind of the opposite for me. When I saw the other 2, I was like, man, this is completely different than Army of Darkness. You know, when I saw Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Right.
But because I have a love of horror movies, you know, Evil Dead, you know, was great. So.
And plus, you're a big fan of Bruce Campbell. And he plays Ash in the movie.
Yeah. This movie's what did it. This is what
put that chin on the map.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
It wasn't Jack of all trades?
No.
Okay. So it starts off, Ash is a slave in the year 1300 AD.
Yep. He knew exactly when he got there.
1300 AD.
Yep.
So let's keep that 1300 AD in our minds. Correct?
Okay. It'll come back to us.
It'll come back to haunt the movie later.
Continue.
He says that he had a real life working at S-Mart.
Yep.
And S-Mart was a competitor, a fierce competitor.
Kmart.
With Kmart. Wasn't there also an R-Mart, too? I'm not sure.
I don't know. But you know what is funny? In Colombia, there is an S-Mart in Colombia.
Sounds
There's
good
a place
to me.
called S-Mart.
Fight it, fight the power.
Shop smart. Shop S-Mart.
Which he tells people while they're at S-Mart. I'm like, no shit, Sherlock, I'm here shopping.
Well, it's their slogan.
It doesn't make any sense. That's like I'm going into McDonald's and them saying, please have McDonald's while you're here. I'm here, I'm going to have McDonald's.
Nah, it'd be more like them saying you're loving it as they hand you the tray.
Would they say, da-da-da-da-da?
A garlic ranch blasted it.
Okay. So he had a girlfriend, too.
He did.
And it shows this kind of in flashback scenes. They went to a cabin, and there, something happened. I didn't really catch it, but there's a book, Necronomicon. Mm-hmm. And it took Linda. Mm-hmm. And his hand went bad from these dark demonic forces that were conjured up. And he actually says his hand went bad.
Yeah.
And he cuts off his hand.
Yep.
Severs it. And instead of his hand, he attaches a chainsaw.
Which is a great implement in place of a hand.
I guess.
I mean,
just remember which hand to shake with other people.
I'd go with that.
It seems very unwieldy to me. I think I would go with more like a hatchet.
I wouldn't be afraid to fight anybody, I'll tell you that.
But I'd have to start it up. I mean, like I wouldn't want to count on the fact that it might not work. You see what I'm saying? I would just do a hatchet is what I would do. Or like an ice pick would be good. Okay. Just a quick ice pick, you're down. But yeah, the chainsaw's cool.
Your ice pick's gonna get stuck in somebody's skull, and then you're gonna be wrestling it out.
But it's good to pick up trash on the ground.
Yeah, but I'm not a trash man.
I pick up trash.
Okay.
So he went through, and there's like this vortex portal, and it shows him going through this vortex portal.
All right.
And this is obviously, like you said, these are scenes all from Evil Dead 2.
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
And it shows him going through this portal. His car also goes through the portal.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, it shows his car falling from the sky. Him and his car. He lands on what is visibly mats underneath the dirt that I could see as his car falls in the background. But all instantly, in this kind of rugged outdoor terrain, he's instantly surrounded by men in armor on horsebacks.
Well, I think basically he fell into the middle of a battle.
I guess so. Or the remnants thereof.
Yeah. I don't think it was so much that they were instantly there. It's just that he happened to fall where they were.
I see.
Okay.
And on the other side of the world.
Sure.
It's the vortex. It's the vortex.
It's the vortex. By the way, it's important to keep in mind that when his car hit the ground, it was basically bent in half. When his car hit the ground.
It's okay.
Keep that in mind.
Well, it repairs.
Okay.
So it's kind of funny. There's a scene where some of their men are attacking his car with their swords.
What a piece of armor this is!
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
And there's an old man there with a beard, thus obviously denoting him as being some sort of wise one.
Mr. Pitt.
It's Mr. Pitt from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
And all Mr. Pitt wants is a good, comfortable pair of socks.
That's all he wants.
That'll stay up.
That's
all that Mr. Pitt wants. And he says that Ash looks like the one written about in the Necronomicon.
His name, by the way, is Ian Abercrombie.
In the movie?
No, that's his real life name. Oh. In the movie, he is only denoted in the credits as Wise Man.
Wise Man. And that's what I said. He's a wise man.
So that's what he's denoted as.
I've got him referred to as an old man every once in a while.
Okay.
And I'm like, why does the Necronomicon have him written in it? Okay.
I guess the Necronomicon, much like the Scorpion King's temple, predicted who was going to be the downfall.
Yes, how to kill him.
Yeah. So in the Scorpion King, it had directions how to murder him. In the Necronomicon, it tells of the one who will, I guess, come and claim it and destroy it.
If you want it, come and claim it.
Sure.
It's Lord of the Rings reference. Eowyn.
Keep moving.
The bridge of... Okay. So so they take him and some other warrior dude, this big red-haired dude.
Henry the Red.
Henry the Red. That's helpful that his name's Red, and he's got red hair. So that doubles up easy. Easy to remember.
Played by Richard Grove.
Okay. He's chained up, and he's got like a wooden shackle thing around his neck and stuff. And he's obviously chained up to some other soldiers. Obviously, this is Henry the Red's men, and they lost the battle to these other dudes.
Yep, and they think he's one of Henry's men.
Correct. They don't, and they take him to a castle full of scrubs, is what I've got written here. Sure. Please don't go there.
Yeah, because I don't want no scrubs.
Damn it, I told you not to go there. And there's a woman of some attractiveness compared to the other people that are there.
Yes.
And she asks about her brother, who was obviously the leader of this group of castle-dwelling people.
Yeah, Lord Arthur is the leader.
He has a unibrow, very serious unibrow, I believe.
Yeah.
His name's Lord Arthur?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's like, sorry, your brother fought valiantly, but he perished.
Last night.
Yeah, he died.
One night before we were coming back.
Yeah.
He died.
He died. He's dead.
So, how'd she take out our emotion?
She eyeballs Ash and
instantly attacks.
Well, first some kids are kicking Ash's ass.
Yeah.
And then she starts in with pulling his hair, spitting in his face, and this is for her brother, pretty much.
Yeah.
So she's got some animosity. Ash talks to Henry the Red. Obviously, they're in the same plight.
Yeah.
And so he calls him Fancy Pants. And this is where you first notice, this is in the beginning, you've had a couple instances of this, but this movie has Bruce Campbell, and he has this persona, I think, that is almost kind of like quasi-Duke Nukem-ish. You know what I mean?
Well, I believe once they developed Duke Nukem games where he had a voice,
yeah,
they took his lines, I think, from
probably so
this movie.
Kicking ass, chewing ass, and like chewing bubblegum and kicking ass or something like that.
That's Roddy Piper and They Live.
Okay,
He said that. But no. But like, this is my boomstick.
Boomstick.
Hell to the King, baby.
Yeah, Hell to the King.
You know, stuff like that. I mean, that's straight.
Yeah.
That's
straight Ash. So he's got this kind of attitude that you just don't normally see. It's a very kind of quippish, cool attitude. And it's enjoyable. I think that's really it. If you enjoy the way that Bruce Campbell portrays his Ash character, and I don't really remember him being like that in the other movies, obviously. Right. So he's obviously really hammed it up to super levels.
Yeah, because Henry the Red asked him, I'm sorry, Ash asked Henry the Red, who are you? And he says, Henry the Red, leader of his people.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And then Ash is like, well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. I got news for you. You're not leader, but two things, Jack and shit. And Jack's left town.
So yeah, he just got this wisecracking attitude.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's a rude dude with a tude.
Yeah. Okay. And they say that it's obvious that these two have been fighting against each other. Henry the Red's and Arthur's people have been fighting.
Right.
Subsequently. There's a pit which is opened up, and they toss one of their soldiers, one of Henry the Red's soldiers, down into said pit. Everybody waits and watches attentively, quietly. Kaboom! A huge geyser of blood.
Yeah, like just faithful.
Fountains up to the sky. Hitting the wall and everything. Yeah. Most blood you'll ever see out of one human body.
Yeah.
It just explodes up, probably anywhere between 600 to 700 feet in the sky.
Now, this is, I believe, a throwback to Evil Dead 2, which you said you have not seen. Mm-hmm. Evil Dead 2 has some excessive gore and places in it.
That's very good.
Like, there's basically, when Ash cuts his hand off, there's basically a scene where later on he stabs the hand, just the hand, and about that much blood comes out of just the hand.
That's great.
It's complete insanity.
I love that, actually.
So,
and I've got to go ahead and say right now, I really love gore in movies, in horror movies. Mm-hmm. There's a part of me that likes, cerebral, scary movies. And then if it's a movie that's going to have monsters and stuff with it, and dead bodies, the gorier and the crazier, the better.
Okay.
So, of course, I'm all for that. So,
which is why we love Brain Dead.
Yeah, Brain Dead is very good. Dead Alive.
Whichever. Same movie.
Same movie. Another dude tries to run for it, and Arthur gets a crossbow and shoots him in the back. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the crossbow bolt has Raimi Cam attached to it. And what that is Sam Raimi is known for his attaching his camera onto things that are in motion, especially high speed.
Yeah, first-person view of like an arrow flying at something.
And I hate Raimi Cam. I always will.
Yeah, it's what we've always called it.
I always hate Raimi Cam. It's so low budget balls, and it's almost the same as Peter Jackson kind of does that a little bit with his fisheye like lens. He'll do that too, where someone's really up in the camera. Whenever Frodo goes into back to Bag Inn in Fellowship of the Ring, and it does that when Gandalf grabs him. And it's his own camera. Like each of these directors have kind of their own little thing, and Raimi Cam is well known. You'll several scenes that remark, of course, are Spider-Man 2 with Dr. Octopus,
the chainsaw
the
operating room.
It's straight Raimi Cam, and Raimi Cam can either be the attachment. There's three things. It's the attachment of a camera onto something in motion. It's the camera at shin height barreling through the countryside or wilderness or the woods or something, as if a creature. And the third thing is the grabbing of an object and the zooming in on the grab of the object.
Yeah. It's like you see the actor's face, you see the actor look at something, and then obviously what he's looking at is the next thing the camera zooms in on, and then you see that actor's hand grabbing said object,
and then maybe holding it up in a triumphant stance.
Yeah. That's Raimi cam.
Those are all his MO.
Various Raimi cams.
Yes, and all of them are shit. Okay, so Ash is like, wait a second, I don't know these assholes, which is funny.
I just met these. He's like, I don't even know these assholes.
Points right at the guy's face. I don't know these assholes.
I just met these guys.
Well, that woman that was mad about her brother dying, she throws a rock at him, hits him in the head, kind of stuns him for 1d4 rounds.
Yeah.
And he is then kicked into a pit.
Yep.
The motion is given from Arthur, and a quick point to another grunt, and a swift kick to the back kicks Ash down deep into this pit.
Yep.
And what's it full of, Jonathan?
Water.
Okay. You know a lot about water recently.
I do.
Okay, so it's full of water. There's skeleton bones, and it's there's also like some walls that have some spikes on it. Spikes are detrimental to your body.
Yep. And there's obviously something down here because something got that guy.
And I don't know what this thing did to him to do that, but it's all well and good. So you leave it up to your imagination.
A dragon punch, uppercut.
Possibly so, or a falcon punch. So it's a witch hag that pops up out of the water.
Yep.
And she starts beating his ass.
Yeah, with fists. Just
fists.
punches. Everybody's having a good laugh, standing up above, cheering as the monster is just punching him in the face.
Yep.
Until Mr. Pitt shows up. I have Mr. Pitt written in all my notes. The wise man shows up and
Mr. Pitt
says, "Strange one." And then as Ash looks up, he throws down his chainsaw. Mm-hmm. Ash leaps into the air. He's got a very high jump skill. And the chainsaw slips right onto his nub.
Yes, in an interesting scene.
Yeah.
Very, very oddly.
It locks right into place.
Yep. And
he's ready to rock.
He's ready to rock. And he slices this hag witch into pieces, in twain, if you will.
She charges. He cuts her right in half.
And there's spikes closing in on now as they've introduced spikes into the combat fray.
Yep.
And you think everything's fine. He's going to climb up the wall. He's looking at like the chain that's doing these spikes, and he's going to go up the chain. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the rock wall, some other horrible bloated freak busts out.
I
don't know what the hell this thing was doing in there. I don't know what the deal is, but it's got horrible. It looks like a floater. It looks like a big bloated floated corpse, like a guy that's been sitting in the surf for a couple days, really bloated and nasty. Comes chasing after him, and he beats its ass.
Yep.
He attaches himself to the chain with his belt with a quick which
Indiana Jones whip.
It never works. I don't know how they do that in movies. The creature grabs his leg, as is the creature's wont, and the spikes, he's able to get up above it. The spikes skewer the monster, we believe. And I've got here, it's a bloated monstrosity.
Yep.
It's terrible.
So Ash claws his way out of the pit now.
Mm-hmm. He gets up, and he punches Arthur in the face.
Straight in the face.
Yeah. And there's a good moment where he's just looking around at everybody. He's like, who's next? Who wants some of this?
You want some?
You want some more? What about you? And he starts singling out some people. It's a very humorous scene, I believe.
Yeah.
And this again shows his over-the-top, kick-ass way of life that he has.
Ash sets Henry and his men free.
That's true.
Yeah,
get on your horses and get out of here.
Yep. So Henry's very excited. He and his guys ride off. They get the hell out of there. Arthur tries to yell for him to stop. Mm-hmm. And at this point,
he pulls his sword out.
He pulls his sword out. They've already taken off. As he draws his sword, we hear a loud boom.
Is it gas?
And his sword is blown in twain.
From a shotgun blast.
Yep.
Ash has his shotgun.
Or his
boomstick.
Yep.
We don't know where it was on his person.
Sure don't. Don't know how he got it back.
They did bring his car into the castle with him. They drug his car there.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll just look past the part of like, where's the part where they're like, what the hell is this thing?
Right.
Like, this is Henry. You know what this is? Is this one? You know? Oh well. Maybe they thought it was just some implement of warfare.
I guess.
I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like, so it was loaded. Somebody picked it up. Nobody pulled that trigger trying to figure out what it was.
You got it. That's all that matters.
All right, maybe the safety was on.
Yeah, he shoots the guy's sword, and then he goes to show the shotgun to everybody in the crowd, giving off its specs, how much it costs,
Where it's made.
yeah, where you can find it in S-Mart.
Yeah,
And
Shop Smart, Shop S-Mart.
that's correct. And it's a humorous scene.
Yep.
And there are many scenes in this movie that are very humorous.
And he says, if any of you primates
Yeah, he keeps
so
calling
much as
primates.
touch me again.
You get the boomstick.
Yeah. So right after that, it's got a scene of him sitting in a chair being fed grapes and
The creature comes back.
women. Oh, well, yeah, okay.
Creature comes back. He shoots the creature
Right back into the pit.
into the pit. It shows his coolness.
Yeah.
And then yes, maidens.
Yeah. And then he's sitting in a chair being fed by several maidens. I put Ash as king now.
Yep,
That's what I
it's
put.
good to be the king. The woman, you find out her name is Sheila. Oh, he's breaking his iPhone. That iPhone's really going to go through it one of these days.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna say something, and it's just going to really set you off. So yeah, the woman, she comes up asking kind of forgiveness for how she threw and spit in his face and
Yeah.
pulled his hair. I like the pulling of the hair. I think there's something about whenever you attack somebody about pulling their hair.
She's like, I didn't know you were the chosen one.
Chosen one. All right. She asked for forgiveness, and he's kind of like, you were.
He's like, first you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me. Blow.
Oh boy. And so, the old man,
Mr. Pitt.
yeah, he tells him that the Necronomicon can send him back to his time period.
Yep.
And because he's like, I want to go back, and they're like, well, we need the Necronomicon as well, for some reasons.
They never really explained why.
They need it, and he needs to be sent back to his time. While over listening to this is an old crone, if you wish, and she quickly becomes a witch. Her face changes, and Sam Raimi also likes to put like vast amounts of wind in somebody's face, especially if they're a paranormal ghoul or some sort of critter of the night.
Right.
He likes to have a lot of wind blowing on them. And this movie's budget for smoke and mist is just through the roof. So that's always a given anytime any type of paranormal activity is spotted in the film. So she says that they'll never get the Necronomicon, and then she collapses.
Right.
It scares everybody. But it's a trick, as one of them is about to go see to her. Arthur, yeah. And he's like, no, it's a trick.
Grab an axe.
Yep. And quickly it pops up, of course, and gets a shotgun butt to the face from Ash. And I've got written here, Ash versus Witch, as they fight.
Okay.
And then this is where you see Ash's trademarked behind the back shotgun barrel blast into the witch's face, and then an almost orgasmic Ash relishing in his destruction of this witch.
How do you think that sounded right beside his ear?
Terrible.
Discharging that gun.
Brutalized his ear. Brutalized it. And they call these things deadites.
Okay.
Pretty neat name, I think.
Yeah.
Just different. Deadites. He says, they ask, he's going to go quest for the book. Okay?
Right.
Quest for the book, meaning he will go out, adventure out forward, and retrieve said book. There is now a montage scene of, I call it armor zoom-ins, as it keeps zooming in on various parts of armors. And I guess, I don't know, they're making some new metal hand for him.
Yeah, he picked out a chainmail glove, like a plate mail glove, from a set of armor. He's like, that one. And he's basically created a harness and
he's real buddies with the blacksmith.
a mechanism to basically, make a new hand for himself.
And in the year 1300, he created a robotic hand that's better than hands nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay? And then when he finally gets it, he goes, groovy.
That's another Duke Nukem.
Yep. The woman goes and sees him, and that's her name, Sheila.
Yeah.
And they have some harsh words back and forward before they start to fuck.
Yeah, I put bones to the chick who hated him. That's what I wrote.
They've had like 2 interactions.
Yeah. One where she's spitting and pulling his hair, the other where she apologizes.
And now they're having this back and forward kind of harsh words, him at her mainly.
Yeah, he's tired of her shit.
So he's gonna take care of it.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a scene of them having some sort of intercourse, I guess.
Yeah, well, we need to say there's 2 versions of this film. There's a theatrical and a director's cut.
Now, which version did we watch?
We watched the director's cut.
Now, that was a mistake.
It was a big mistake, but it did have the sex scene.
Yes.
Which is not in the theatrical version. Also, there's no boobs, so if that's what you're watching this version for, no reason to do that.
No boobs.
No boobs. Well, there are boobs, but not in this scene.
True, and these boobs are they're hidden by shadows and camera trickery.
Yeah, firelight.
Trick photography.
We're seeing silhouettes as there's a fire behind them as they make love.
Make love?
Yeah.
That's gross. All right.
So that's gross.
So he and some other ones, including Mr. Pitt, they ride off to yonder unholy place.
Yep.
And where the book rests.
Yep.
Okay. And Mr. Pitt tells them, these words must be spoken exactly whenever you grab said Necronomicon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, what are those words that he needs to say, Jonathan? I'm putting you on the spot.
The words are Klaatu, Verata, Niktu.
Niktu, you sure about that?
Necktie.
Necktie. Okay. So yeah, he's got to say these words exactly.
Nickel. It's definitely an N-word.
It's definitely an N-word, yep. And so he travels off by himself, and there's lots of smoke and mist all over the place as he travels. And this director's...
Now, are you sure there was smoke and mist in the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of it. And so there's a lot of scenes here in the director's cut, a lot of scenes of him traveling. And Mr. Pitt was like, that way is to the cemetery where the book is.
Yeah.
But then from the point where they leave him to the point where he gets to the cemetery is long in this director's cut.
Yeah, it's a long ways away.
Like, why couldn't y'all come a little bit more?
They couldn't cross a line.
They needed him because right here, all of a sudden, something's chasing him. Now, for budget reasons, Sam Raimi does his Raimi cam on the ground and monster sounds. It scares Ash, and he takes off on his horse. He falls off his horse. There's Raimi cam, and he hits a branch, and he lands in some muck and water and stuff and mud. I said
he got reeved here.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Well, he went head first into the mud.
This thing is chasing after him. And you can see Raimi came on the ground, shaking and moving.
Yeah.
And he finds a windmill, a yonder windmill.
Yep.
And he hides and holds to the door against this unknown horror. He holds the door up.
Oh, there's a horror coming, all right.
And this is a scene again where it's just straight Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, where Bruce Campbell's doing super Bruce Campbell face. And anybody that knows... and his head going back. And the way that he shoves the camera right up Bruce Campbell's nose, practically. And then Bruce Campbell's going around, and then he's holding the door, and the door's going...
like someone's like banging into the door, and like, the
cracking.
Yeah, like parts are cracking,
It's just so Sam Raimi. This scene right here is so Sam Raimi. Now, something happened to the DVD at this point.
This is where things go terribly awry for us in the film. Because there's so many different parts in this that are, I guess, in the director's cut. This scene was obviously much cut down for the theatrical version. So since we're watching the director's cut...
Thank God.
Versus, instead of trying to, I guess, cut in just the parts that they cut out, they put in the entire section, I guess, of the director's cut version, but they didn't restore it.
No.
So suddenly we are watching what has to be VHS quality, like film, or maybe it's film that hasn't even been touched by any type of restoration. I don't know, but it was awful.
It is, in my opinion, the worst thing we have seen so far in Go Ape podcasts.
History.
Yeah, history. This is the 60th podcast, by the way.
Is it? Yeah, episode 60.
It is the worst quality we have seen, bar none, of any type of footage from a film. It's unbelievable how bad it looked.
It was really bad. And there's nothing on the theatrical release version of the DVD that looks... I mean, it looks way better than this. And this is... It was unbelievable. I mean, almost whole parts of the scene are so blurry, you can't even make out the faces of some of the...
Yeah, they're just like...
mini ashes that you're about,
they're like
we're
blobs,
about to talk about.
Blobs.
I mean, it is terrible.
Well, we're already watching a DVD, and that lacks the HDs that we're used to.
Yeah, my high-definition eyes... enhanced by my glasses.
Yes.
I need HDs. I need HDs to view films.
Yes, we'd already lost some HDs from it being just DVD.
Right.
And now all of a sudden it jumps down even lower.
VHS.
Like if your Netflix had a couple bars showing you resolution,
right.
These things went down below the last one. It went way down. It flipped into the red.
Yeah, it created a negative bar that was actually, it was doing bars, but like on the downward axis.
Yeah. I'm almost certain that no one alive tonight watched something that low of resolution that we just watched. This was 360 by... there's probably some people right now, like in, I don't know, like Argentina, they're watching better quality, on some little tiny TV, your black and white TV.
Right.
It's better looking than what we saw.
Okay.
I hated it. I want you to instantly. I was like, just
at this point, Brandon told me to stop the movie and go find it on Vudu and purchase it.
I was just kind of looking over it and being like, fix this, motherfucker.
Brandon wanted me to go buy an HD copy of the movie.
Embarrassing.
It was so bad.
It was embarrassing.
It was bad.
I can't believe we're sitting here. Go Ape Podcast, the premier #1 Planet of the Apes and movie franchise podcast in the universe, and we're pretty much seeing 6 or 7 pixels on the screen move around.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, this collector's edition. Collector, it's got the it's the boomstick edition.
Just wait till we watch Phantom Menace and I pop in my VHS copy of the tape.
Where's a VCR?
I got a VCR in that room right there.
Shit.
We'll watch it.
I'll have to get a wheelbarrow to bring it in here. Might pull our backs out.
I need both of us to lift it.
So yeah, this scene looks terrible. And it's a horrible scene too, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, I put this scene as one of the worst transfers I've ever seen.
Yeah. So all of a sudden these little tiny ashes show up, little shitheads. They're probably about 5 to 6 inches tall.
They're the size of brownies from Willow.
Yeah. They terrorize him and throw a fork into his ass.
Yep.
He spears one with the fork.
Yep.
He is tripped and falls on the stove, and he's stuck to the stove.
Yeah, his face is cooking.
His flesh is cooking. He has to pry his own face off the stove.
With a shovel from the fireplace.
This is straight Three Stooges realm.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and say, being a big Bruce Campbell fan that I am.
You are.
I've read his autobiography.
Mm-hmm. He shows you no respect on Twitter.
He talks a lot about growing up. He and Sam Raimi, Rob Tapert, Ted Raimi, all of them had a big love of the Three Stooges. Mm-hmm. They also call anybody who had to kind of work to do somebody's part as like a stand-in. They refer to them as shimps constantly.
I get that. That's the fourth Stooge.
It was the fourth Stooge. So they love Three Stooges, and there's a lot of Three Stooges-esque comedy in this film. Like
right before where I've got it written that it's like Three Stooges, they drop some sort of slime in a bucket on top of his head.
I thought it was like grease. I thought it was like maybe grease that had solidified.
And he's slipping around and he's running in place on the slime.
And then of course he flips onto his back.
Whip, whoop. I mean, it's just straight comical bullshit.
Yeah.
And then he gets back up and he starts saying, "London Bridge is falling down," and he's going to stomp on one of these little ashes. Little ash grabs a nail. He goes and gets him in the foot.
Yep.
That's detrimental to him. That's painful. And he gets knocked out somehow. I forget it.
He slips back and hits his head on like a pipe, and then he hits the ground and it basically knocks him out.
He wakes up and they have tied him to the floor.
Yep.
And two of them hold his nose. It looked very poor. And one jumps into his mouth, which he swallows the little ash.
Right.
He tries to vomit him up, but cannot. So the next closest thing is boiling water. To pour boiling water down one's throat and gullet.
Now let's talk about this.
Yeah.
He goes to grab a hot pot of boiling water. The first time he grabs it, it burns his hand.
Mm-hmm. It's hot. It's boiling water.
Well, here's the thought.
He's got the metal hand.
Exactly. Why would you grab it a second time with your same hand when you've got a fucking metal hand with no nerve endings in it that you could have easily picked that up with no problem?
I figured it out. He's had the chainsaw so long he doesn't remember how to grab stuff. He doesn't remember. It's not first nature. Plus, it's his left hand instead of his right. He's a righty.
Okay.
Righty can't go left.
Well,
lefty can't go right.
I'll accept your explanation.
Okay, there it is.
So then he takes the water. Mm-hmm. He says, "How about some hot chocolate?" Makes no sense.
It's hot water. And
then he just dumps the hot water into his mouth as he screams because it's burning his mouth.
It's boiling hot water.
You're going to get some third-degree burns from that, I think.
It's a movie.
Okay.
But instead, what he does get, he gets an eyeball pop up in his shoulder, which is absolutely gross.
Yeah, he's cooked the thing in his stomach, but then his shoulder starts itching.
Yeah.
And he starts scratching at his shoulder. A little hole rips into the top of the shirt, and you see an eyeball looking through like a split in his skin.
He has, and then all of a sudden it just shows him out inside of the windmill, and he's got another ash head.
Yeah, now a whole head is coming out of his shoulder.
And it's an extreme dummy head.
Yeah.
It's super dummy head.
Yeah. It's like that Highlander picture you had last week.
Yeah, it's a fake dummy head. It's very funny. Occasionally while they're fighting, he's kind of fighting against the other head, there's obviously a stunt double he's attached to, and they told the stunt double to look off into the opposite direction of the camera, thus not seeing his face, thus not looking like Bruce Campbell, subsequently. Right. So they split apart. Okay, so you've got two. You've got Evil Ash and Good Ash. And a quick shotgun blast to the nose takes care of Evil Ash.
Yep.
He takes him back to the windmill, chains it down, cuts the body up, and buries it in the grave.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and say he did that pretty easily.
Well, he's got a robotic hand, that helps.
Well, no. But what I'm saying is the mental capacity you would have to have to chop up another human being, whether it be something evil or not.
Ash has done it all now.
I mean, yeah, he did that pretty easily.
Ash is on the fringe.
He dismembered a whole human body and then threw it into a bag and then threw it into a grave he dug.
He's lost it.
Okay.
I don't think he's all there.
All right.
So he digs it. The head starts talking to him when he throws dirt in its face. It's kind of funny. So
yeah. He says, the head tells him you'll never get the book.
You'll die. They're going to kill you before you get the book.
Yeah. Ash says you got something on your face, and the face goes, huh? And then of course instantly he tosses dirt into his face.
Very humorous.
Yeah.
And then nothing assails him on his way to his cemetery as he makes it to the cemetery.
Yep.
So obviously that evil Ash was a liar.
Yeah.
And it's a very cool looking cemetery.
Okay.
It's very kind of gothically cool with a bunch of tombstones and stuff.
Multiple tiers.
Yeah, it looks very cool and decrepit and old. And there is an altar with 3 books, all looking exactly the same. Very demonic looking, flesh bound probably cover of a book. There's 3 of them. And
Ash is vexed.
Yep. He didn't know there was going to be 3 books.
Yep. The guy was spent so much time telling about the words, he never mentioned that there were 3 books.
Maybe the old man didn't know that.
He was a wise man.
That is true.
Not wise enough.
So he opens up a book, and there's like a hole in the book that tries to suck him in, and succeeds.
It does.
Yeah, it sucks him in. But he fights his way back out.
Yep.
And his face is all stretched out.
He looks like John Kerry.
Looks like John Kerry, yeah. Why the long face? And he gets it sorted by... And it slowly starts to go back. This is a cartoon, is what you see here.
Yeah.
And there is another book, so he grabs it by like just... It's got like it looks like a face on the flesh cover
on the Necronomicon.
And he just shoves his hand straight into the mouth.
Which bites down on his hand.
Which nobody would do that.
Yeah, nobody would grab a book that way.
He starts flying around with his hand attached to it. And it's kind of like a bird, bat type thing, and he's fighting it and stuff. And
it eventually goes back to its spot.
Yeah, it finally goes back to its spot. So the last book, obviously, here it is. And now he has to do the words. Yeah,
he's about to pick it up, and he realizes, oh, wait a minute. I got to say these words. And he goes, Klaatu, Verata, and then he stops. Yeah. He's forgotten the last word.
Just like me, always.
Right.
And he finally coughs it out.
Yeah, he goes Klaatu, Verata. Then he goes, okay then.
All right.
That's it. and then he picks up the book.
Yeah, I don't think that dark, demonic, like evil, chaos, skeleton forces are going to be like, he gave it a fair shot.
He didn't fool, is what we're saying.
Yeah, he didn't get anything.
He rolled his bluff.
Yep.
He didn't succeed.
Yep. He tried to bluff the book, and it made its check. There's a trembling in the ground, and there's a lightning that's going on. Even back at the castle, there's lightning, and it's causing a stir amongst the people.
Now, for people who don't know, Klaatu, Verata, Nikto, to my knowledge, originated in the day the Earth stood still. Yes. That could be wrong. It may be from something before that.
I believe it is.
But in the 1950s, there was a movie about a spaceship that lands. There's an alien robot that is guarding the ship. And those were the words to, I guess, if I recall, because I've only ever seen the movie one time.
If memory serves.
One time, and it was at least over a decade ago that I saw the film. Those words basically make the robot realize that you're a friend and you're allowed on the spaceship. If I recall. That could be kind of wrong.
You know what you need to do?
But I remember I'd seen Army of Darkness first, heard that, and then when I was watching that movie that took place, like I said, made in the 1950s, I was like, oh, that's the thing from Army of Darkness.
There you go.
And as far as I know, that's where it originated. It could be older than that, but I'm not sure.
And you could always just watch the remake with Keanu Reeves.
Never seen it.
It's horrible.
Never seen it.
It's absolutely dreadful. I watched it one time.
It did have my girl in it, though.
It did have your girl.
Love Jennifer Connelly.
He's a big Jennifer Connelly fan.
Big Jennifer Connelly fan.
Yeah, it's very bad. We stopped it like halfway through. I was like, this is shit.
Okay.
So yeah,
all hell's breaking loose.
All hell's breaking loose at the castle, and back at the grave site, the cemetery, graves are exploding, and skeleton hands are pretty much Three Stoogeing him.
Busting out of the ground.
They're busting out of the ground. They're poking him in the eyes. They're putting their fingers in his nose. They're fish hooking him. And there's a moment where he thinks everything's cool. Then all of a sudden he's got horror on his face as all these punches
like
coming.
Seven skeleton punches from every direction.
And it's humorous. It's a great scene. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's a funny scene. It's comical.
They go to poke his eyes. He does the Three Stooges block, and then he's laughing, and then two come from opposite directions and gouge his eyes.
There's a lot of that. Bang.
Yeah.
So he makes it away. There's lightning strikes. His other grave, the grave that he dug for his evil Ash, and evil Ash rises from the grave.
Yep.
And Ash makes it back to the castle.
And everybody's like, "Yeah, you're back!" And he's like, "Great!" And then they're like, they're cheering. He's like, "Great, okay, get out of the way." And then all of a sudden, he goes, "Get the fuck out of my face!" to one of the people.
Oh, he's rude.
So he gives the book to Mr. Pitt.
Yep.
Mr. Pitt asks him, "Did you say the words?" And
basically.
He's like, "Did you say the words exactly?" He's like, "Look, maybe not every little syllable, but yeah, I said them." And then he's like, "Damn you!" He's like, "You've doomed us all."
The army of the dead is awoke now because of that.
And he says, "Look," he's like, "that's not my problem. You said you could send me home if you got the book." He's like, "Well, yeah, the book still has that power." He's like, "But now you've doomed us." And Arthur basically says, "Very well, we're men of our word. We will send you home." Even though, then of course, now everybody in the town or the castle has lost faith in him.
Yeah, they've lost.
He's no longer the chosen one.
They shouldn't have trusted him.
Yep, everybody feels betrayed except for Sheila. She still believes in him.
But the words that he told her while they were passionately making sex were just pillow talk.
It's just pillow talk, baby.
Yeah. And she says that he's a coward.
Yep.
So right after this happens, all of a sudden a flying demon thing flies in and causes pandemonium.
Yep.
And it's a rigid-faced bat creature demon.
It's actually the mask of the Green Goblin from Spider-Man.
Practically.
I think Sam Raimi took that and he used that for the mask of the Green Goblin.
I agree.
For William Dafoe.
Snatches Sheila.
Yep.
And now Evil Ash has come in and his skeleton crew. They have Sheila. And he says, "Give me some sugar, baby."
I put, this is actually great stop animation with the skeletons.
Yeah, we love stop animation.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stop animation of the skeletons digging each other up, helping each other out of graves.
Yep.
And from here on out, there'll be a lot of stop animation in the film. And it actually looks really good. And I like it. I love stop animation.
I mean, obviously it looks fake, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's stop animation. It's, I guess saying it looks fake is a given. I mean, it's not going to look real, but stop animation is what it is. And if you appreciate that art form, this is a great scene in the film. And there's many more scenes of that in this.
Agreed. There's a couple other women that are obviously captives from these skeletons.
Here's your boobs in the movie. The skeleton said, "We got big plans for you, women."
What are they going to do with these women?
I don't know.
I mean, they ain't got no more dorks. They got nothing packing down below. They got bones and that's it.
Yeah.
They ain't got the real bone they need for these ladies. I don't know why they're keeping them.
"We got big plans for you," is what they said as they were dragging them off.
Don't make no sense. Yeah. There's tons of skeletons in the background. The people at the castle want to run. Ash is up on top of the battlements, and he is going to stay and fight it out. This is his big William Wallace scene of, "We're going to stay and do this." And he tells them, "We need to get Henry the Red to come fight with us."
Right.
Who's with him? And very slowly, one by one, they start agreeing.
Yep.
And now you have the Army of Darkness.
Yep.
Sheila is now with Evil Ash.
And she's evil.
She's now a witch monster thing.
Okay. I don't know what she is, but yeah, she's that.
Some sort of white-fleshed, scary face thing.
I just put Sheila now evil. I don't really know what she is. I'm going to say she's possessed by something.
And it's Ash says that we can take these deadites with science.
Yep.
Science. They look through his car. He just happens to have a very big hardback book of chemistry.
101. Chemistry 101.
And steam plant book.
Yeah, steam plant operations.
Who knows? There's a montage of them making stuff with a blacksmith. Again, this blacksmith was really he did a lot of work in this.
Oh, yeah.
They're making explosives.
Yep, he's building grenades.
He's teaching the people how to do spears. I'm like, these guys are already warriors. Why do they need you to teach them how to do some with spears? Doesn't make any sense. The Deadites are approaching!
Yep.
As a guy runs in. The book is locked behind a grate on the outside of the battlements. I don't know why they didn't put that deep within Helm's Deep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like way into like under the king's bed.
They put it up on high of the place too, but still, all good. And now I said, yes, skeleton drummers and flute players. As there's a whole army of undead skeletons, and they have their own music accompaniment.
Yeah, they got flute players, they got drummers, they've got bagpipes.
Yep.
I also write here, climax of film marred by VHS quality video.
It's very poor.
Yeah, this is another thing, and this is the biggest part of the movie. I should mention the original version of the film is 81 minutes, of the theatrical version. This version, the director's cut, is 96 minutes. Almost that entire 15 minutes is in this battle, where they added the extra footage and where they cut it out. This battle, once again, because I guess they didn't want to splice in just the parts that were cut out, they just put in the entire section, and it's terrible. It looks completely awful. The entire climax of this film we had to watch in VHS quality video, and it was beyond awful.
And this is obviously just this boomstick edition of the DVD. We're not saying that this is, obviously in every director's edition. Right. I don't know if it's like that, because I have seen many versions of this.
Oh, dude, this movie has been released more times than I can count.
Probably, would you say maximum amount of times?
I would say, this isn't a joke. I've probably seen 7 different versions of Army of Darkness on
I remember
DVD.
the one that looks like the Necronomicon. I always thought that one was cool.
Yeah, that one looked awesome.
With the rubber hey.
I always like this one. I like the cover to this one. Like I said, I like that it had 2 versions of the movie. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's been many years since I watched this, and not in an HD era, which is now an error that we watched the film this way. But the normal theatrical version looks good all the way through on DVD.
This is the thing. It added really nothing to the film other than a different ending, which we'll be speaking of. And it elongated out scenes that didn't look poor.
Right.
Now they look poor. Huge sections of the movie look poor.
So what you're telling me is I should either throw away the DVD or turn it into a coaster.
Yeah, I'd get rid of it.
Okay.
There's no really... Well, no, I would just wait. There's a new Blu-ray coming out. I would get that.
Okay.
I would get that for... It's got 3 discs. It's got international version. Don't know what that is. It's 88 minutes. And then there's... This one, the collector's, the director's cut, and then there's the theatrical in HD, all of them in HD with tons of the extras I saw, and it was huge. So,
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
It comes out in a couple weeks, just before Ash vs. Evil Dead premieres on Starz on Halloween night.
Correct. So, they're getting shit ready in the castle. There's a scene where Ash is obviously being pulled on a skateboard, and he's like throwing out directions to everybody. And I've got here the skeletons look cool.
Okay.
And honestly, I can't think of another movie that has such a huge army of skeletons. Now, obviously, some of these are just rigid as board skeletons. Some are pretty much just...
dudes in suits.
Dudes in suits, because you see they got flesh and they're all fatter.
But the way I looked at that is they were freshly dead bodies.
Freshly dead. They're mostly dead.
They hadn't decayed yet.
Correct.
So
I've got, skeletons look really cool. They advance, and... From up on high, arrows with explosives on them blow the hell out of many of the skeletons.
Yep.
It's very humorous, and there's one scene where one of the skeletons goes, "Let's get the hell out of here!" Which makes me laugh.
Another skeleton takes an arrow that's rigged with a grenade
to his knee,
right into his chest or something, and that skeleton's like, "Yeah!" And then he explodes.
And then one of them takes an arrow to the knee. He can no longer be an adventurer.
Okay.
He has to be a security guard at Whiterun. That's a stupid Skyrim joke I just did. You wouldn't know it because you haven't played Skyrim.
I wouldn't know it because I've never cracked my copy open.
You need to do that. And so let's get out of here. Yep, the second division is approaching from the south.
Okay.
And look to the catapults.
Yeah.
So they're blowing the hell out of these skeletons with catapults, and there's even a same Raimi catapult cam that goes along with the explosives. They throw a plank. The skeletons throw a plank of wood across the moat area as the men hold the gate with wooden beams.
Yep.
They're throwing rocks down from up on high. And the skeletons use a battering ram to knock the door down. They run inside, and they begin to fight inside the battlement walls.
Yep. They've breached the first wall.
Protect the book! Men are getting roughed up.
Yep.
Ash, and so they think... Arthur looks over, and Ash, hides behind a door or something.
Yeah, he runs off and, goes behind a door, and Arthur's like, we've been abandoned. We've been deserted. Because he thinks Ash is a coward and is taken off.
And... So all of a sudden, Ash he busts through the wood of the door, and he's in his car. It looks like some sort of Mad Max machine now.
Yeah.
And it's got blades, like a helicopter blade on top of it, and it's just beating the shit out of all sorts of skeletons.
He's basically built this thing. It's rigged up with some sort of pulleys and gears, and it's basically a spinning helicopter blade that's angled off the front of the car with now a cow plow on it, and he's just driving through the ranks of all these skeletons, just completely obliterating them at this point.
It's a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, it's great.
I think they used a couple scenes multiple times.
It would look a lot better if you didn't have to look at it in the quality that we saw it.
Like a dirty fishbowl is what we looked at.
Right. It looked like I was watching it on a Nintendo 64.
Oh, gross. With RF cable.
So he's wreaking havoc on the battlefield until he turns and he sees Sheila there. And I guess she's using some sort of her power, or he's viewing her in her human form, before she became evil. And she's like there. So he turns real sharp to avoid hitting her, and he flips the car and destroys it.
Correct. Which is detrimental to the car.
Yep. And ultimately to the battle, because it was doing good helping him out.
Exactly. So, he says that they're going for the book. Like, go for the book. They're trying to all go get the book. Is this when Sheila pops back up?
Yeah. All of a sudden, she's standing over Ash with a spear, and she starts stabbing at him.
Yeah, and it's got Raimi Cam on the spear.
Yeah. And it's basically stabbing on each side of his head. He's dodging his head back and forth. And he tosses her aside.
Like you would any type of trash or garbage.
Okay.
And she falls into the pit.
Yep.
That pit that was there down below.
Yep.
And he breaks the back of a skeleton, which is very humorous.
Yeah, basically, there's a couple of stagehands on each side of the camera, and they're basically throwing skeleton props at Ash, to which he's just instantly tossing aside, or he catches one, he lifts it above his head, and he snaps the skeleton's body over his knee in half.
Yep, and it's very humorous. So Evil Ash is going for the book. He's there now in the fight. And Ash starts to fight a bunch of guys with a spear in one of his many scenes. Sheila jumps back onto his back. She got up out of the pit.
And climbed up the parapet, up the wall where he was at.
She says something like, you thought I was beautiful, or something like that, she says to him.
Yeah, he's like, you got real ugly, baby.
That's one of his signature sayings, which is very enjoyable. So she rushes at him. He spears her up over the wall.
Yep. The old stab and...
toss.
Yeah, stab and toss overhead.
And he throws the spear to the back of Evil Ash as he's just about to get the book. Now you have Ash versus Ash fight. Ash versus Evil Ash, I should say.
Yep.
They're fighting down the stairs, much the way that Robin Hood stabs Evil Ash a few times. And then finally, after their fight, which is pretty cool, him against other skeletons as well, as he's fighting Evil Ash, he's dual-wielding, much like Dritz, or Drizzit, if you wish. He sets him on fire with a torch at his face. And he swings on a rope and knocks him over the side.
Tally-ho.
Yep, tally-ho! But then all of a sudden, from yonder wall, Evil Ash is still alive, but all his flesh has been burned off.
Yep.
He is now stop-motion animation type skeleton. The torch falls, and it starts to ignite a catapult explosive wick. The wick on the explosive to the catapult. Ash gets kicked off the side, and he sees the wick. Evil Ash has the book and jumps down onto the catapult. Why you would jump on top of that, I have no idea.
He was using it to break his fall. It was a little bit higher than the ground.
It's true. Henry the Red and his crew lazily show up on horseback.
Here at the end of the fight.
In a trotting stance.
Yeah. They're not even... Like, the scene where it shows him barking orders to his men as they're riding in.
Let's go, guys.
The horses are basically walking. They're not even riding at full pace.
There's like a guy eating a burrito in the corner. Like, on his horse. Like, real slow. Oh, boy. And then he cuts the hand off that has the book on Evil Ash.
Yep.
And cuts the catapult, throwing Evil Ash into the air, and he explodes.
Yep.
Because he's got the explosives.
Yeah, because he's sitting on the bag of, like, gunpowder.
Yep.
And as it's spinning through the air, he stays attached to it, and then explodes.
Sheila is now back to normal.
Yep.
That's helpful for the story. And again, Henry the Red and these men stand against each other in a line.
Yeah, Henry's guys and Arthur's guys face off.
The leaders
about to fight.
Yep, the leaders advance forward, but they embrace like lovers do.
They hug it out.
Yep, hug it out. Let's hug it out, buddy. Hooray! We won the day!
Ash cheers.
Yeah, everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy.
And now we have the alternate ending.
Yep.
Okay. So Mr. Pitt tells, he's obviously been working on the Necronomicon, he tells Ash, Bruce Campbell, he tells him to swallow 6 drops of this potion, and each drop is 1 century. Drink and sleep, and you'll wake up in your time.
Yep.
So, it's the year 1300, take 6 drops, carry the 1. 1900? He'll wake up in the year 1900?
Yeah.
Ooh, the math on that doesn't really work. Okay, whatever. He says his goodbyes to Sheila, and he's off on horse.
Maybe he could have put like 1 drop on his fingertip, and then like gone about 3/4 the way through it with a blade of grass and knocked a little bit off, and then licked that last bit to get back to like the 1980s,
can you
1990s.
not solidify this or something? He says his goodbyes to Sheila, off on the horse, and there's a cave. They're pulling his car into the cave.
Yep.
He blows up the entrance.
Caves it in so he'll be safe.
Yep, and he does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he hears some rocks crumbling.
Yeah, he looks over at the cave entrance.
5, 6. That's 7 drops. He sleeps.
I put idiot.
Yep.
He's a moron.
And you know what? This is very much in his style, though. Not paying attention, doing something wrong, much like saying the magical words, the mumbo-jumbo, to the book.
I guess.
So it shows time passing with the sky and the clouds and the hey and the weather. He's got a huge beard and spider webs are all over him. I'm like, dude, you've probably died multiple times over from some sort of critter.
Is he walking in the spider webs?
You're an asshole. He wakes up. He goes outside his cave, much the way you would a vault dweller in Fallout.
Right.
A hot new game that's going to be coming out next month, November 10th.
Okay.
Fallout 4.
Not a sponsor.
Set in Boston.
Not a sponsor.
No. He wakes up in a post-apocalyptic future. He looks at it, he's like, oh no! And there's tons of buildings that are all crumbled down.
Big Ben.
Big Ben's
sideways.
Big Joey. It's a different one. And he slept too long.
I slept too long.
So this was the
and
year.
then he like falls out of the ground crying.
So this was the year 2000.
Yeah.
This was
in the year 2000.
This was 8 years after he left, right? 1992.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think Ash, you could probably you did okay because you'd have gone back to the year 1900. You took your 7th drop, that takes you to year 2000. You only lost 8 years. That's better than the 92 that you were going to have to make up if you came in the year. So I've got this movie all figured out. Now, if you will, please serenade our many listeners with the real theatrical version that you think is better.
All right. Well, so here's the thing.
You've had enough time.
Apparently, study groups that they showed the movie to at first.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. It was a depressing ending. So the studio came in and they were like, let's retool the ending. Let's give it a happy ending. So what happens is they basically say, we're going to send you back. And then it dissolves to Ash back at S-Mart. And he's pricing out some items, telling the story. And Ted Raimi, brother to the director, is standing there leaning on his mop, listening to him tell the tale. He's like, so did you say the words right this time? And he's like, basically, I said them right. Basically. And then it starts showing Ash pricing some items. And then some girl walks up to him, played by Bridget Fonda. I believe it's Bridget Fonda.
And that's his girlfriend from the 2, right?
Or is that Bridget Fonda who played in 2?
That's the who played in 2 was Bridget Fonda.
Okay, then it's a different girl in the theatrical ending. So anyways, this girl goes, she says, that story about you being king is pretty cool. Is it true? And he's like, yeah, it was true. And now all of a sudden, one of the customers at S-Mart is an old hag. She spins around.
What?
Says she'll swallow his soul. And a fight breaks out. And she's flipping around. Ash quickly gets a gun from the, sporting goods.
Yonder Sporting Goods.
Pulls it out. It's a lever-handled action rifle. He unloads roughly 40 bullets into this woman.
Yeah.
He does a lot of surfing on a cart through the aisle.
Much like Donatello.
Some flips. As he's flipping, he's shooting her. He basically kills her.
Increased skills. He leveled up from this adventure that he did.
Right. So he kills the hag. The girl that he was just talking to, his fellow employee, she runs over to him and grabs onto him. And he looks at her. He says, "Give me some sugar, baby." And or maybe he says, "Hell to the king, baby." I think he says, "Hell to the king, baby." And he dips her and he kisses her. That's the end of the film. The theatrical version.
And you like that version better?
Oh, yeah. It's got some action in it.
It does have some action in it.
I think it's a better ending to the film.
I agree. But I don't mind post-apocalyptic stuff, obviously.
I don't mind it, but I mean, as far as the ending goes, it's kind of
throwaway.
trash, yeah. I think if you're going to watch the movie, you should just watch the theatrical version, if you had to pick between the two.
Especially because of the downgrade if you're watching on DVD, Boomstick Edition.
Yeah, but the theatrical version, I believe, has a better ending as well.
Army of Darkness, 1992.
That's it.
We just did it.
Yep.
Go Ape Podcast.
Yep.
What are your views on this film?
Love it. It's one of my favorites. It's right up there, as it's been denoted many times. It is a cult classic. Mm-hmm. It gave me my love of Bruce Campbell.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to say about it? It's a great movie. Very funny, very corny. He's extremely what's the word I'm looking for with his he's very hammy.
He's hammy. He's over the top.
But that's what there's just something about it. It's very charming.
Yeah.
It's not like one of these things where you're watching it and you're like nauseated by how bad it is.
He's able to pull it off.
Yeah.
Because of the writing and because of how Bruce Campbell delivers these lines and the way that his facial expressions are over-exaggerated, he's able to pull it off in the sense that if he was beside anybody else acting completely different, it would seem strange. But in these type of movie, he's obviously a pinnacle of what he's doing. But no, I also enjoy it. I didn't watch it obviously back then. I watched it more recently. And there's a lot of stuff that you can hem and haw and it's stupid and dumb. But the movie's not trying to be anything more than that. And I think obviously, some people might have been dismayed that it wasn't keeping with the Evil Dead motif that they had come before.
Yeah, I can definitely see how people who liked Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, which were more horror type films than this, I can see how they would be upset. But Evil Dead to me is a horror film. Okay? Evil Dead 2 is a mix between horror and comedy because there are some comedic elements and some very over the top elements in 2.
Sure.
And then to me, 3 is just a comedy. To me, there's nothing horror film about 3. It's just a comedic film.
It's more of an action fantasy film.
Yeah.
Comedy action fantasy film.
But yeah. I mean, I can see how if you were a fan of the first 2 more, you might be disappointed in it. But like I said, I think because this was the first one of the trilogy I ever saw, I think, I liked it already. And so when I saw 1 and 2, even though they were vastly different, I liked them because it was the same character that I had already grown to like because of this movie.
And he was enhanced. He'd been turned to 11. He'd been ramped up in this movie.
Yeah, this one he goes to 11.
I almost see it as like a movie where like Sam Raimi and them started with a certain thought process, and then they just were kind of like, you know what, we have more fun doing this type stuff, so let's just do this type stuff. Right. You know what I mean? But yeah, I enjoy the movie as well. I don't own it. I wish I would. I wish I did. It's a fun movie to watch. I could probably watch it again in easily a year's time or something like that. I don't think I'd ever really get tired of it, just because his delivery of certain lines and stuff, you want to look for him. You know what I mean? The shotgun blast behind the back, the faces he makes. Yeah,
there's a lot of mannerisms, just his faces and just some of the things that he does that, just stand out, and they're great just to watch. It's also one of these movies where, I don't get tired of it. I can't say how many times I've seen this movie. I've seen it a bunch of times, man. I mean, it's just, I love watching this movie, so it's great.
I've probably seen it, I haven't seen it a whole bunch, but I've probably seen it I think I've seen it about 4 times. But, it's a good flick. Hopefully, most of the people have already seen it. It's one of those movies that a lot of people have dug on over the years. So, that's it. Don't know. Obviously, I'll be at the beach next Saturday, so there won't be a podcast.
Son of a beach. Sorry.
Fuck. That was too much. And then I guess this was Jonathan's pick. I'll have a movie to pick for the week after. I'll probably do a horror movie again. We'll continue this on.
If this is a horror movie.
Well, I mean, just something fun, Yeah. I think it's a good place to put it.
It is October.
Yeah. And it has the word darkness in the title.
Sure.
Much like Darkman.
I do want to say this, by the way. Sam Raimi is not a terrible director.
No.
He's a good director at what he does well.
Correct.
Okay? So, whereas I don't care for his Spider-Man movies.
Right, nor do I. We're in the minority in that, apparently.
When he tries to do a horror film like this, or like I said, a Sam Raimi film, something he writes and comes up with, he's good at it. I think Drag Me to Hell is a phenomenal film as far as a scary movie goes, and it's in his style, and it's great. That's his wheelhouse, and that's the type of movies he should stick to.
Right.
Don't try to do something mainstream like Spider-Man, because I don't care for your take of doing that type of movie. But like I said, Drag Me to Hell. If you're looking for a good movie to watch here, around Halloween, it's a great one. Go find it. I don't think it's on Netflix, but you can go find Drag Me to Hell somewhere, rent it, maybe on Vudu, something like that. Great flick.
Yeah.
Terrific to watch, this time of year.
Redbox.
Yeah, or Red. Well, I don't know if it'd be a Redbox. It's pretty old.
That's true.
But
I don't know how much they carry, much they hold.
Right, but it's definitely worth a watch here at this time of season.
Yeah, and I don't hate Sam Raimi. I think that he's been put on a pedestal about Spider-Man movies that I don't particularly enjoy, but a lot of people do. So they've put him on a higher pedestal that I don't think he deserves for that degree where he's done.
Like I said, he has a wheelhouse that's his genre, and as long as he works within that, I think he's great at what he does. But there are things that he just, to me, doesn't need to be doing or working on because it's just not what he's good at.
Right.
So
that's it. You got anything else?
No, nothing.
I'm going to miss Go 8 Podcast next week.
Probably not. You'll just listen to old episodes.
That's true. This is 60.
You won't miss it.
This is 60.
Okay.
When you start scrolling through it, man,
yeah,
it's really huge. Like when you start scrolling, I'm like, good Lord. We've given these thousands of people, I'm going to say...
These tens of
thousands. Let's go tens of thousands of people.
Tens of people.
We've given them, I'm going to say... maybe 80 hours of comedy.
Okay.
Comedy entertainment.
All right.
Movie and TV show, cartoon.
Pop culture and our personal lives.
Personal lives and pop culture is what we're all about here.
We're the only podcast that does it.
Yeah. Nobody else does that. It's unique to Go 8 Podcast 2.0.
Right.
And, I look at all the things, I'm like, wow, we've been doing this. And we've been, other than a couple of things here and there, we're only human. We've got other lives to live. I can't constantly...
Sometimes work interferes.
Yeah, or extracurricular vacation type things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun. I'm glad that we were able to put it pumping out. And like I said, I follow a couple of podcasts here and there occasionally. Mm-hmm. And man, their release schedule is just few and far between. Months go by for some of them. I mean, it's just not on a regular schedule. So I'm just glad that we do it. And I know that there's some other people that enjoy the fact that we get it out.
I have one podcast I try to listen to. The dude puts out 2 a week. 2 a week. I can't even keep up with that. Like, there's a bunch of episodes of his I skip.
Sure, that's too much.
Because I can't listen to 2 a week. That's crazy.
I could do with Go 8 Podcast 2 times a week.
No, I couldn't.
It's one of the best podcasts out there.
I couldn't. But I will say, at least it's something that we have stuck to pretty well.
And you don't stick to anything. You stick to some things. Well, we don't stick to stuff. Did we think that we were going to go? We didn't know that we were going to go this far.
No, we said we were. We said we were going to stop after Planet of the Apes, which we kind of did.
You bought a couple times.
Well, we kind of did actually stop after Planet of the Apes, and we became something different.
Yeah, 2.0. 2.0. It's been fun. It's been great. I just laugh when the fact we're going to do franchises, and we've been doing a whole bunch of just single movies.
Well, the problem was we did those franchises, and we were like, God, this is a lot. Like when we out the gate, we did a 5-movie franchise. And then what did we do?
Well, then Joe Grimm was like, well, we did Mad Max.
Ninja Turtles, but we did Mad Max, but we did another franchise, didn't we?
Nope.
I'm almost certain we did 3 franchises.
Believe me, Go 8 Podcast. I believe Go 8 Podcast.
Okay.
There's a guy on there that's very humorous and good looking.
All right.
His name's Brandon.
Never heard of
him. But it's just, what happened was our devout listener, Joe Grimm, was the one that said that, you should do your worst movies. I really like the movies like Turtles 3, that's really bad, and us making fun of that and stuff like that. So, It's been fun. And, I don't know if there's anything else we got to talk about. I will miss Go 8 Podcast next week, but we'll be back. After that, I'll be spotlighting a movie that... will probably be horror themed. We might do 2 more movies of horror, and then we're going to go off on some other tangent. We need to do some space movies. That's what we need to do. Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship. There's a pause. Enterprise.
Okay.
All right. So, I am...
That line's already made an appearance, by the way, in Go 8 Podcast history.
That is true. That's from Leonard Nimoy. The late Leonard Nimoy.
The late, great Leonard Nimoy.
That's correct. And so, with that... if you, for some reason, want to follow me or talk to me, or I'm very lonely, you can talk to me on Savage GM on Twitter.
Okay, I'm Abe Randall on Twitter.
We have Facebook page. It's Go 8 Podcast.
I wouldn't know. I've
Facebook
never
page.
seen it. I've never once
Yep.
looked at it.
You can get the MP3s on Podcast Garden, Jonathan's favorite hosting site for
It's
this
the best.
for this award-winning, wife award-winning podcast and daughter award-winning. She loves Go Ape Podcast. She has no clue.
We're Go Ape Podcast on Twitter.
Yeah, Go Ape Podcast on Twitter. That helps as well. And Go Ape Podcast Show at gmail.com.
Yep. Remember to contact us on Twitter or email or Facebook and let us know. Do you want to see us Periscope live for the Halloween night, All Hallows Eve?
I'm not dressed up.
You could see us live, dressed up.
It's hot as shit in here. You know how hot I'll be in the fucking outfit?
I'll crank the AC up for you.
Jesus Christ, I'm sweating like a fucking...
You're not sweating at all, you piece of shit. We will we will be live on Periscope if you demand it. You, the listeners, demand it. We'll be live. That's just a lot of grease. And
butter. That's a lot of butter.
we'll do it for you because we love you. You're
I hate
the
this
listeners.
idea. I'm going to go ahead and let you know this now.
Well,
This
that's
is all on
even
you.
more reason for us
This
to
is
do
all
it.
on you.
That's even more reason for us to do it because it'll make you miserable.
Those of you that vote for this, I kill you. I kill you if you vote for this.
I'm gonna laugh. You're gonna show up in this elaborate costume. And I'm just gonna put some ears on.
I'm going to dress as Perry Caravello.
I'm gonna
Scary Perry.
I'm just gonna put on those Groucho Marx glasses.
Jesus.
That's gonna be it. So there you go.
That's it.
You got a song this week? What's your song?
Yeah. I guess I've got a song. And it's coming in now.
Oh,
There it is. And we're grooving to it.
it might be a good one. I don't know.
Yep. And until next time, go ape.
Go Ape.
Groovy.
Go Ape.
I wanna be bigger and more. Never growing at his home. Two glass houses, one fish nose, 14 yellow, 6 are blue. Could it be worse? Wiped out bone. I don't wanna be bad. I don't wanna be bad and poor. I don't wanna be bad.